Hi guys, Keith Walsh here from ExamRevision, and you're all very welcome to today's Saturday session with ExamRevision. Okay, so in today's Saturday session, we're going to look at Leaving Certificate Geography, and what we're going to focus on is the layout, the structure, and exam technique for the geography paper. Just to let you know, this is a Saturday session, so it's from 11 to 12. And every single Saturday, ExamRevision has a Saturday session taking place. Okay, so it's the same time. It's 11:12 to keep it easy for everyone and to help you to remember. And like this week is geography. Next Saturday we will have Connor with Leaving Cert Higher Level Biology. The week after that, on Saturday again from 11 to 12, we'll have Robert. He'll be doing Leaving Cert Higher Level Chemistry. The week after that, we'll have Daniel, and he's going to be doing Leaving Cert Higher Level English. We've Lee after that, and he's going to be looking at Leaving Cert Higher Level History. So every single week there's going to be a Saturday session taking place, and it's a free 1 hour grind where you can get some key insights into the paper and to help you with prepare for your leaving certificate in 2022. Okay, so I'm just going to go into the layout of today's Saturday session. Okay, so the first 30 minutes we're going to look at like the layout of the paper, the structure, exam technique, and then for the last 20 to 30 minutes we're going to look at some short questions on physical geography. Okay, so the layout of the paper. So it's really important that students understand the layout of the paper. Okay, so this is for if you're a 6th-year student taking the 2022 geography paper in next June. Fantastic. This is Saturday sessions for you guys. So the geography Leaving Cert paper, it's made up of 5 sections. Okay, it's really important that you understand the structure, the layout, your timings, and your exam technique, because you can't waste any time in geography paper. You need to just understand it and know how the layout works, and not be losing any time in your exam. Okay, so you've got 3 core units. Okay, so you've got core unit 1, core unit 2, and 3. And these are units that everyone has to study. Okay, now I know like with this year and last year there is a little bit more choice. Okay, so you can actually leave out a core unit. Okay, but in this particular, like, and I will speak more about the adjustments in the next over the course of the next 10 to 15 minutes when we get to that slide. Okay, so this core unit 1 is short questions, core unit 2 is physical geography, core unit 3 is regional geography. Then you have to pick one of 2 electives. Okay, so you can study the economic elective or you can study the human elective. The one that I study is the economic elective, but it doesn't matter which one you do. And then if you're a higher level student, you will have to pick one of 4 possible option questions. Okay, so the one that I tend to look at is the geoecology question. So the layout of the paper. So the very first thing is short questions. They're worth 80 marks. Okay, so they're worth 80 marks, and it's 16% of it's 16% of your your Leaving Cert Geography grade. Okay, so it's a sizable chunk, and it's sometimes the short questions can get overlooked, and you can spend all the time maybe on your regional geography, for example, and yeah, the regional geography is worth 16%. It's worth 80 marks as well. It's the same value as the short questions. So short questions are so critical, and I'll speak later on about how you can maximize your marks with the short questions. The physical geography is 80 marks, and it's 16%. Your regional geography, it's 80 marks, it's 16% of your entire paper. Economic elective or the human elective is 80 marks, and it's 16% of the geography exam paper. And then your geoecology is 80 marks, it's 16%. Okay, so you can see everything is weighted the same. So it's important to give equal time and effort into each section, because no one section is worth more than the other section. And then you've got your field study, which you will do before the exam. You'll do in class. And your field study is worth 100 marks, so it's 20% of the overall geography grade. Okay, so you got 16, 16, 16, 16, 16, it's 80%, and then you have your 20% of your field study. Okay, so the total exam paper is 500 marks. Your timings. Okay, so what's your timings for your geography exam? Well, it depends. Okay, so these are going to be rough guidelines on your on the layout of the geography paper, okay, and what you think you could possibly use, okay. But your timings is something that you need to work on, because some students will take 20 minutes in short questions, others might take 30 minutes, some will take 25, some might take 18 minutes, okay. So whatever your timings are, then you can adjust your timings to the rest of the paper. So these are like guidelines for your timing. So 30 minutes for the short questions. For your physical geography, 30 minutes. Your regional geography, 30 minutes. Your economic elective, 30 minutes. And then 40 minutes for your geoecology. So um, they're my timings that I would suggest. But I do understand that some students might do the short questions in 20 minutes. They save 10 minutes and they can add on maybe 3 minutes to your physical, 3 minutes to regional, 3 minutes to economic, and the extra minute can go into your geoecology or reading or finishing off a question in one of the different sections. Okay, so it's up to you to, and how you know your timings is by practicing doing questions, seeing what time it's taking you, and then trying to adjust and go, right, in my exam I need to have my short questions done in 25 minutes because I know I need that extra 5 minutes in the physical, the regional, the economic, whatever it might be. One thing I would say is, though, remember, don't fly through the short questions trying to save time and then like to put it into your physical and regional geography, because the short and mess up in your short questions, because your short questions is the same weight. It's 80 marks, 16%. So it's only do the short questions in 20 minutes if you're scoring 70 plus out of 80. If you're getting like most of the marks, or if not all the marks, because the short questions are critical. They are weighted the same as your physical, and as your regional. So it's important that you just don't do them really quickly, trying to save time, but then subsequently then jeopardizing losing a lot of marks in your short questions. So that will take you up to 2 hours 40 minutes, and then you'll have then 10 minutes for to read the paper and to pick the questions that you want. Okay, so just in terms of I touched on this at the start, adjustments for the Geography 2022 paper. I'm sure you're all familiar with this, but if not, I can just quickly go through this and just show you some of the adjustments on the paper. Okay, so what we have here is so you've got the short questions. Okay, so it's 80 marks, 12 short questions, and you've got to attempt 10. A little tip is to attempt all 12. Okay, there's no adjustments for this short questions. Okay, so part 2 is where the difference is. Okay, so structured essay questions, 320 marks. Candidates must attempt 4. Okay, that's like normal. You do your 1 physical, 1 regional, 1 economic, one option. But this year there's a significant change. This must include 1 from the 3 of the sections below. So you could do 1 question from your physical, 1 from your regional, 1 from your elective, and the 4th question can be from any section. So it could be your option and just answer the paper like normal, or you could leave out your option. You could do 2 physical, 1 regional, 1 elective, or you might want to do 1 physical, 1 regional, 1 elective, 1 option, or maybe you want to do 2 physical, 1 elective, 1 option, leave out regional. So you've got a great choice in the 2022 paper. It's fantastic, and students should take advantage of this choice that you have. Okay, so your 4th question can be from any section. Okay, now you can't do 3 questions from the 1 section, so you can't have 3 questions from physical, but you can have 2, and then 2 more questions from 2 other sections, so maybe section 2 and section 3. And leave out options or whatever it might be. So that is a critical change to the Geography 2021 paper, and students need to be aware of that. Okay, and it's a great opportunity for students that are sitting the Geography 2020 paper. Okay, because of this extra choice. Just coming back to the layout again. Okay, of the 2022 paper. So you've got short questions, 80 marks, it's worth 16%, and then you've got the 4 long questions, 320 marks, it's 16% by 4, so it's 64%, and they consist of your regional, your physical, your elective, and your option. And 2 of those questions can be from the 1 section, which is fantastic for you guys sitting the 2022 geography paper. Your field study then is 100 marks, it's worth 20%, and that's going to bring up, it's going to be at 500 marks in total then. Remember, you can pick 2 questions from 1 section. It's amazing for students that is sitting the Geography 2022 paper. Okay, so just back with the timing again. Okay, so with the timing, it's really important that you learn what your timing is. Okay, these are like these are ballpark figures what you should be around. Okay, so you don't want to be spending more than 30 minutes in any section. But I understand if you're getting the short questions on 25, you've got 5 minutes you can possibly put in elsewhere. Okay, and that is perfectly fine as long as you're not doing the short questions so quickly that you are you're rushing and you're making silly mistakes, because it's really easy to make silly mistakes in the short questions, but it's also really easy to score really well in the short questions, particularly if you practice your short questions. So this brings me on to the short questions. How do you improve your short questions? I think short questions is one of the parts of the geography course that you can improve really quickly. Okay, and how you do that is you just practice the past exam papers. You'll make silly mistakes at the start, and then you'll learn from those mistakes. Okay, so when you make mistakes, they're learning opportunities, and with the short questions, you will make silly mistakes. Okay, you'll forget to put your millimeters, your centimeters, the units, whatever the units might be. You'll forget to put that on. You lose the marks, but you won't make that mistake again. So with the short questions, they're 80 marks, 16%, max 30 minutes. Okay, now if it takes you 30 minutes to do short questions, that's absolutely fine. Okay, that is absolutely fine for students. Take the 30 minutes, because it's worth the same as your regional, it's worth the same as your physical, it's worth the same as your option. It's 80 marks, so you need to make sure whatever way you need to get them, if it's taking 30 minutes to get the 80 marks, that's absolutely fine. Take the time to do them and make sure you get the full marks, and because that will help you to achieve the highest possible grade that you want to get. Make sure you read the question properly, particularly on graphs. That is one thing. Graphs and tables, students very often read the questions wrong. They're really easy. You just need to check it and then double check it. So if you check the graph twice, check the table twice, just to make sure that the answer that you're putting down is, in fact, it is right. Another tip is there's 12 questions, answer all 12, because what the examiner will have to do is the examiner will mark all 12, and then they'll pick the best 10. Okay, so a really critical tip: answer all 12. Even if you're just having a guess at some of them, that's fine. But answer all 12. You've what the question that sometimes I get is like, what is the short questions made up of? What parts are they made up of? Well, they're made up of your core units. So your physical, your regional, and your geographical skills. That's what makes up the short question. So you won't find a short question on the elective or the option, because students in different schools will study different parts of the course. Okay, but everyone has to study the physical, regional, and your geographical skills. Always make sure to put the units, so if it's millimeters or centimeters, make sure to put them in. Okay, and the last thing then I would say is to make sure you just practice your short questions. You can improve so quickly this section of the geography exam paper by just practicing past exam paper questions. Okay, so coming on to the physical geography. Okay, so this is our core unit 1, and it's made up of questions 1, 2, and 3 on the exam paper. So the long questions, yeah. So questions 1, 2, and 3 are made up of the physical geography. Okay, and what you have to do is you have to pick one of those questions. So if you pick, say, question 1, you'll have an A, a B, and a C. A is 20 marks, B is 30 marks, and C is 30 marks. That's making up 80 marks. Your timing for each of these sections, so for a 20 marker, you should be spending 5 minutes. And then for a B and C, the 30 markers, you should be spending 12 minutes, 30 seconds. Okay, this is really critical. This adds up to 30 minutes. That's your 30 minutes. That's your time. You haven't got much time to be hanging around or to be thinking. Or start like brainstorming. You need to just get straight into the questions and start getting those SRPs. Okay, particularly with like part A, you've only got 5 minutes, so you can't hang around. You need to get straight into the question, get your 20 marks, move on to the next section. In terms of like this year, you could do, say, question 1 from regional geography, and then you might not do question 2 and do question 3, and that would be 2 questions from your 1 section, and then you would have to do 2 more questions from 2 different sections. So maybe like your regional and then your option, you leave out your elective, or you might do your regional and your elective and leave out your option, or you might do your elective and option and leave out your regional. Okay, however you decide, depending on how the paper and what you feel most comfortable with the questions that are being asked in the Geography 2022 paper. With a key tip for you, okay, if the 30 minutes elapses, okay, in your physical geography, and you're halfway through your question C, move on. Okay, really, really important. Move on. The only way you would stay for an extra minute or two is if you've saved time in your short questions, or you know that you're going to save like time elsewhere. But if you've taken 30 minutes for the short questions and you're on, say, 30 minutes for your physical geography and you've only halfway through question C, move on. Okay, I promise you, you'll score like better if you answer the entire paper than if you take up extra time in your physical. You might do that and then your regional, and then what happens is you run out of time completely for your option question at the end or your elective, and you might miss out on a whole question, say part C in your elective, and it's just 30 marks gone. Where if you leave halfway on this say physical question 1C, you might have picked up say 20 marks out of 30. And then if you then answer like half the question for like say your elective at the end as well, you probably will pick up like 20 out of 30 marks again. So that way you're much better off, a much better position, because you've picked up 40 out of 60 marks as opposed to just missing a whole question and losing 30 marks. So it's really important. Move on, and I know it's difficult to do because you just kind of get sucked into the question, but move on. And if you have time at the end, you can always go back to it as well. And because you know you've missed the question, or you've missed the part of the question that you will need to go back and finish, you will subconsciously remember that and get back to that question then. Your regional geography is the exact same, okay? So it's 3 questions. So it's questions 4, 5, and 6 on the paper. So questions 4, 5, and 6. A is 20 marks, it's 5 minutes. B is 30 marks, it's 12 and a half minutes. And C is 30 marks, it's 12 minutes, 30 seconds, okay? So again, this is really, really important. Don't spend extra time. Don't spend 35 minutes on your regional, okay, if it's not built into your timing, because you're going to then jeopardize marks elsewhere because you spend too long on your regional. If you're halfway through your last question C, move on. Okay, I promise you score better. Students statistically score much better when they answer the entire paper rather than just missing a question at the end where they're losing like complete 30 marks. So with this question, you have to do 1 question from your regional. Like this year, you could possibly do 2 questions if you wanted, or you could do no questions from your regional in the Geography 2022 paper. If you're a Geography 2023 student, you'll have to do 1 question from regional, okay? Unless we get like further adjustments from the department, but I don't think like that would be the case, because there shouldn't be any disruptions, please God, like moving forward, like for students that are currently in 5th year now and then going into 6th year. Your economic elective, this is the one that I do. It's questions 7, 8, and 9. It's 20 marks, 5 minutes. Part B and C is 30 marks, so 12 minutes, 30 seconds. So everything is very similar, okay? And again, you haven't got time to be wasting with your 20 markers. It's 5 minutes, so you can't spend like a couple of minutes like getting ready for the question. You just need to go straight into it. And once the 5 minutes is up, you just move on. You move on to the next question. You go on to part B and C. And if you finish 1 question, then say C, and you've got it done in 11 minutes, you could add on 1 minute 30 seconds then and go back and finish on your section A. Your human elective then is questions 10, 11, 12, and again it's the same. 20 section A is 20 marks, B and C is 30 marks. Your timing, it's 5 minutes for the 20 marker, 12 minutes 30 seconds for B, and 12 minutes 30 seconds for C. Now sometimes students say, Key, I can't do like a section like B in 12 minutes 30 seconds. How can I get like a 30 marker, get 15 SRPs in that time, okay? Well, one thing I would always say is practice, okay? At the start, yes, it is difficult, okay? But the more you practice and the better you get at like writing like your short, concise, detailed like points. And when you start to understand your exam technique, which we're going to touch on later on today in this Saturday session, you'll see that it's quite easy to pick up like a lot of the marks, and then the last few SRPs you do need to have a bit of detail. But like I will talk you through this what I'm saying like in one of these slides going forward. The other thing I would say is it doesn't have to be 12 minutes 30 seconds if you can able to save time elsewhere. Okay, so this is where you have to try learn about your timings, and the only way you learn about your timings is practicing like questions. Okay, so practicing 30 markers, timing yourself, seeing what time you're at. Okay, it's have to take me 17 minutes. Okay, or I need to work on that, I need to practice to bring that down. Okay, and when you've practiced so much that you know exactly, right, 30 markers always take you 13 and a half minutes, then you need to then look, is there elsewhere in the paper where I can save time? Maybe it's the short questions, I'm able to do them really well, I just they're very repetitive. I've practiced the last like 15 years of the exam papers, and I'm getting them always done in say 20 minutes out of 30, and I'm scoring 70 plus every single time. Okay, grand. Now you have 10 minutes you can add on, and then you could bring this up to maybe 13 and a half minutes each of these questions for your physical, your regional, and your human. And that would be then 2 questions from each section. Okay, so you could add on. You'd be looking at then like approximately 10-12 minutes that you could use by having 1 extra minute in each question. Your option then, higher level students only. Okay, so it's the one below there is geoecology, and with the geoecology, it's 40 minutes. Okay, that's the timing. Now some students might get that done in 30 minutes. Okay, 35 minutes, and if you do, fantastic. Then you can take that 10 minutes, you can put that elsewhere. You can take that if it's 35 minutes, you're getting the question completed. Then you take that 5 minutes, and you can put that elsewhere. Okay, but these are like timings that like roughly you should be sticking to. I wouldn't be going over 40 minutes, okay, for your option question, okay. Just like I wouldn't go over 30 minutes unless you've built in your timings. Physical geography questions, okay. So we're just going to look at physical geography, and we're going to look at some of the short questions. And like there's one short question that's always guaranteed, and it's this question here. Okay, this comes up every single year on the short questions, and it's the map question. And it'll say something like OS map, so examine the OS map, and it'll ask you to draw a sketch map. Okay, ask you to draw a sketch map, and then always ask you to put in 4 different features. Okay, so we've got feature 1, 2, 3, and 4, and it's 20 marks. So how does that come to be? How does that marked? Okay, so I'm just going to show you quickly how it's marked. So it's guaranteed. You're guaranteed to be asked to draw a sketch map for one of the section A's. Now, how long have you got? It's a section A, it's a 20 marker. You've got 5 minutes. Okay, 5 minutes to draw a sketch map. Okay, so that's going to be one that you just have to go straight into. You can't be hanging around because it's like 5 minutes, and there's quite a few things to do with the sketch maps. Okay, 4 features, they're 4 marks each, and then you've got 4 marks for like the quality of the sketch. Okay, so for having the sketch like 12, like exactly half the scale, because it always says like make sure it's shown as half the scale. So usually it's 12 centimeters by 9, but obviously just double check on the day in case the map size is changed. So it's half the scale. Make sure you've got a title on it, north arrow, you've got a key, and you've got a scale. Use the OS map, not the aerial photograph. Okay, so it says Ordnance Survey, it always says in bold. Make sure you use the OS map. It's such a it's a mistake. It's a common mistake people make because they draw a sketch map for the wrong for the photograph, the aerial photograph, and you just get straight 0. Each feature is awarded 3, 1, or 0. Okay, so 3, 1, or 0, and then 1 mark for labeling it. Okay, for naming it. So it's important that with this, it's just you've practiced drawing sketch maps. These are skills that you need to practice. On the day, if you try to do it, you won't do it in 5 minutes, and you'll do it wrong. So you need to be practicing these questions. This one comes up every year, so it's really easy. Just go back over the last 10 to 15 years and just practice the like drawing the map questions. Really good form of study. Like you've got that. Take you 5 minutes. You could do 6 of them you could do 6 in 30 minutes, and then like that'd be a really good form of study. Okay, and then you can check it with the marking scheme. With the long questions, okay, so your 30 markers, I'm going to show you like a bit of like exam technique and where the marks actually go for on the marking schemes for this. Okay, but before I do that, okay, so I have a physical geography like checklist. Okay, so here's my checklist that I've created for physical geography, and I went back through all the different years, all the different questions that have come up for different years, for all the different years for physical geography, and I made a list of all the different questions and put them together and have this like checklist for students. So if you could answer every one of these questions on the paper, you'd be able to answer every single question for the last 15 years, okay, for Leaving Cert Geography. And so, for example, like 3,000 plate boundaries, intrusive features of volcanic activity, ways to predict, monitor, and prevent earthquakes, ways to predict, monitor, and prevent volcanoes, global distribution of earthquakes, global distribution of volcanoes, interior plate tectonics, fluvial landform of erosion, so waterfall, for example, fluvial landform of deposition, might be a delta if you're doing fluvial. Now, you could have coastal or glacial as well, but I do fluvial. Human interaction with fluvial environment, or it could be coastal as well. I do dams. Mechanical weathering, chemical weathering, so surface underground, karst landscape, it's a distinctive landscape. Formation of igneous, formation sedimentary, formation of metamorphic, human interaction with rock cycle, and folding, faulting, and then you've got isotacity as well. Okay, so with this, these are like everything you need. So it's a really good way to have this, particularly if you're in a 6th year student. Print off this. Oh yeah, by the way, if you want the notes for this lesson, okay, like this PowerPoint, all you have to do is fill out the Google form. It's in the description there. Okay, so it's in the description. So if you just click into the description, you should be able to get that there, and then just fill out that, and the notes will be sent to you after today's lesson. The other thing as well is there is a chat there as well, so you can ask any questions. So please ask any questions, and I'll answer them like live now. So please do ask any questions that you possibly have. Okay, and it can be anything at all. Like, so please, just any questions at all in relation to geography, and hopefully I'll be able to answer it. These revision sheets. Okay, so this is how I like to do my essays. Okay, and structure the essays for my students would be you'd have like a title, then you'd have you've got like 1, 2, 3 goes all the way down to 8. So these are like your SRPs. Okay, and then each SRP that you write, you kind of summarize it with like keyword. It might be 1 or 2 keywords, and that's like the whole summary of that point. Okay, and you'll see it'll go down to like 15 SRPs. Okay, and I actually put in like a diagram as well, and a diagram is something you should always put in for physical geography, because you'll get at least 1 SRP. But to so technically there I'm given like 16 SRPs, and that's just to make sure that you're getting like the full marks. You're getting 30 out of 30. Typically speaking, like to get like 30 out of 30, you kind of need to have about 17 SRPs in reality. Okay, depending on because it depends on obviously like which examiner that you get, and some examiners might give an SRP for 1 point, and another examiner might not just give it for the same point. Okay, so you're looking at having about 17 SRPs to make sure that like you get 30 out of 30 for like all examiners who that are marking your paper. Okay, this is something that I have come up with. I've kind of ranked for physical geography in order of priority, because I understand students, there's a lot to learn, and students kind of just want to know, right, what do I need to know? Okay, and what's like what's really important. Okay, so what I've done is I've broken down, say, the physical geography, and I've ranked it in order of priority. Okay, so this is like number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And in my opinion, these are the ones that are the most important. So your erosion and deposition landform. Okay, that's a fluvial, coastal, and glacial lot. We do so I would do fluvial with my students, and so I would do, say, if it's erosion, it'd be like a waterfall. If it's deposition landform, I would do a delta. Okay, so you guys might do floodplain. If it's deposition, you might do levee. But it depends. It depends on what you're doing, or you might be just doing you might do coastal or glacial. But this is the most important question. Why? It's a guaranteed question. It comes up every single year. So you guys need to know that question. The next one I would say is the formation of rocks. So knowing the formation of igneous, sedimentary, metamorphic question. This question tends to come up every single year. Okay, now there has been a couple of years where it didn't come up, but it comes up more often than not. Okay, so the formation of igneous rocks, it's critical, and in the last few years, it's been every single year. So it's one that you need to know. The next one, I would say, the third one is human interaction with fluvial, coastal, or glacial processes. Okay, so that question that I would be doing is the fluvial. So it'd be like how humans interact with fluvial environments, so like the construction of dams. The fourth one would be how humans interact with the rock cycle. Okay, so how do humans interact with the rock cycle? So the one that we do with this, you could do is like gas, or you could do is geothermal energy, and it's the ways that humans interact with the rock cycle. Then we have chemical and mechanical weathering. Okay, Really popular question on the Geography Leaving Cert paper. And then the sixth one in order of priority would be the destructive and constructive plate boundaries. Okay, because destructive and constructive plate boundaries, if you've essays on say destructive and constructive and you know them inside out, what's that going to do is if the question is on volcanoes, you're able to answer the question because you know destructive and constructive plate boundaries. You know lots of information from that, so you can build your essays then for volcanoes. If it's earthquakes, again, if you've got like destructive plate boundaries learned off, you're able to then use that one for earthquakes. Okay, so this is the reasons why I've ranked these in the priority. Now, one thing I'd say is if you go back for the last 15 years of the exam paper, if you just know these six main like topics here, you would be able to answer at least one full question on every single paper for the last 15 years. Okay, so this is a really good like tip for students that are studying the geography 2022 paper. And in some years you're able to answer the entire paper, question 1, 2 and 3, and in most years you were able to answer 2 questions. So it's really important. Okay, now I'm going to try to break it down a little bit further for you. Okay, so what came up in 2021? Okay, so we had the deposition landform feature. Okay, formation of igneous rocks, and then we had how humans interact with fluvial environment. Okay, so what's this kind of mean maybe for students that are seeing the 2022 paper? Well, ones that are probably going to be a little bit more important for you guys are going to be the erosion landform. Okay, so that might be your waterfall. Okay, now I wouldn't just bank on that and just be like, right, it's going to be a waterfall. More than likely it'll be a waterfall, but you know you need to have the deposition one learned off as well, because it's already broken down, and it's so it's so targeted already, because you know it's going to come up. So have erosion deposition, but more than likely it's going to be erosion. Formation of rocks, okay. You need to know 3 of them, but sedimentary maybe might be the one that you might start learning. You might start learning first because it's got a higher probability of coming up. Human interaction with fluvial, you still know that, even though it came up last year, still know that because it's in this or it's in a priority that like list that I've mentioned. But it came up last year, so if I was going to learn human interaction, I'd probably go with the rock cycle first. Okay, chemical and mechanical weathering, very likely to be seen on the physical 2022 paper, and destructive and constructive plate boundaries. Now, with the 30 markers, okay, this is, I'm going to show you like where did the SRPs like come from? Like how do you get the SRPs, like generally speaking, okay? And this is how every single, not every single, most 30 markers are going to be broken down, okay? So you're going to be given like one SRP for naming it, okay? So that's 2 marks, okay? Examples, always give examples straight away at the essay, in your essays right at the start. You name something and then, or give the impact, whatever it might be, and then give the examples. Okay, 2 SRPs. Annotate diagram, you will get 2 marks. You will get 1 SRP for an annotated diagram. You can get more marks for an annotated diagram. Okay, you can get unlimited SRPs for your diagrams, but you will get 1. Okay, and it's so by naming something, giving 2 examples, and drawing an annotated diagram, an annotated sketch, you're on 4 SRPs already. Okay, and then that then leaves you with like 11 SRPs to get. And a tip that I would give to my students would be to have examples at the start and examples at the end. Okay, so if you're doing say a waterfall and you say like you've got Paris Court in County Wicklow, and then you've got like say Torque Waterfall in Clarny in County Kerry, I would then put like at the end of my essay, then I would put in like the examples again. You could use the same examples, but even better if you could maybe have like other examples. You might say like Angel Falls, Exalu Falls, whatever it might be. But you need to have examples at the start and examples at the end. Annotated diagram, really important. Okay, so you've got an annotated diagram. Always focus on the question being asked. And sometimes students say, yeah, okay, how do I focus on the question being asked? Well, a little tip would be to reword the question a number of times straight your answer, because it keeps you then focused. It keeps you from going off track. And always start on a new page for each question, okay? That is, so start on a brand new page. Don't start halfway down and onto a page. Go onto a brand new page and start the question, because what that does is it leaves lots of space. And if you then do say section A and you go down, you use half the page. You do question 1A and you use it at the top of the page and you go halfway down to the page. Don't do question 1B like directly underneath it. Go onto a brand new page and start, because what that does is it gives you then an opportunity. If you remember something or something that you learned throughout the paper, you can always go back and add it in. You got space, and you're not putting like arrows saying go to like page 16 in your booklet, and you're not writing 3 sentences in one line. Okay, so always start on a new page. Statistically, students that do that score much higher in their Leaving Cert paper. So it's really important. These are some of the key tips that I want to pass on to students that are sitting the paper in 2022. So here's the guaranteed question. I'm going to go through it like using this marking scheme here and these tips. I'm going to show you what it looks like in reality. Okay. So this question is the one that we know is guaranteed, and it's going to be fluvial or it's going to be deposition. Okay. So it was deposition last year. In 2021, more than likely it's going to be something along the lines of, it's going to be erosion, and it's going to be something along the lines of this question here. So examine the impacts of the processes of erosion on the formation of one fluvial landform, coastal landform or glacial landform that you've studied. So what does it look like? Okay, this is again using my the revision sheets. Okay, so using the revision sheets here, what we have is we've got the entire we've got the question like done now. Okay, so we've got the heading, the essay title, we've got the keywords, and we've got then the SRPs, and they're all broken up. So this is one SRP, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and so on. Okay, so here's our these are the tips that I was giving you to put in. Okay, so name the landform. So straight away name the landform. So fluvial landform or waterfall. Okay, that's it, done. You're getting one SRP, 2 marks. Example. Okay, so now I'll put in 2 examples straight away, because you could get 2 SRPs. Okay, so here we could have Paris Court and Wicklow, Torque Waterfall in Kerry. Okay, potentially you could get 2 there, 2 or it might be 1 depending on the marking scheme, but always put in 2 examples because good practice. Reference to 2 processes of deposition. Okay, so 2 processes of deposition is going to give you 2 SRPs. Okay, so the process of erosion, you might say hydraulic action. Okay, abrasion, attrition, solution. Okay, and then make sure you go in and explain them then. So hydraulic action, abrasion, you might explain 2, you might explain 4. It depends on what the information that you want to put down for your question. Label diagram, that's going to get you another SRP. Okay, and if you do this here, so you've got like you name, you give your example, you give 2 processes, and you then label a diagram, you've got 5 SRPs already. That's 10 marks, 10 out of 30, and you've probably written about 10 words. Okay, and you've got 10 marks, 5 SRPs, and then you're going to go and explain and get the remaining 20 markers, 10 SRPs. So it's so critical. If you don't give examples and you don't mention like the processes, straight away what's going to happen is you're going to find it really difficult to get 15 SRPs, and it's going to take an enormous amount of information that you'd have to write to get that. But if you go name, example, process, explain the processes, give a diagram, you're picking up so many SRPs really quickly, and it's not going to be and you're not writing a whole lot of information, and then you're going to get into the main chunk of your essay. And so it'll go down here. You've got SRP 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and then you've got the keywords here. Okay, what I'm just going to quickly just show you is just going to go on to, so this is what it looks like inside ExamRevision. Okay, and just first, any students that are watching today or teachers that are not familiar with ExamRevision, like you might be wondering, where can I get like all these notes, and where can I get like these essay structure sheets and all these sample answers? We have everything on ExamRevision. Okay, so what it looks like is inside here, it's all broken up. You've got physical geography, regional, geographical skills, your elective, and your geography option. Okay, so if I go into say my physical geography, okay, it's all broken up in like really nicely into different chapters. You've got exam advice and technique at the end here, so like this PowerPoint to be going in here, and you will also have like the essay structure sheets are in there. And then if I go into say like rocks, inside rocks, what we have is we've got like every part of the course. The entire course is like broken down into bite-sized video tutorials. So all the blue ones here are bite-sized video tutorials. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, and then you've got quizzes then to check your progress. You've also got like PowerPoint presentations. So if he's a teacher or as a student that wanted to create my own notes and go into like a to get it in like detail, you've got everything is done here, and the PowerPoints work exactly like how normal PowerPoints would with animations. It's all done really, really nicely for both students and teachers, and it's all there for you guys. Okay, and then what's fantastic then as well, you've also got the notes that you can open up. So the notes section, notes will open up. Sorry, just the internet's there a bit slow, so skip that. Okay, there we go. So each section has the notes fully done out. Okay, so this is content is going to look at folding, faulting, and rocks. So we have folding, faulting, rock types, human interaction with the rock cycle, past paper questions, and then you got sample H1 answers. Okay, and you can see that it's just broken down really, really nice. It's laid out. It's got the key information. It's got it presented like really nice. And then what we have is lots of igneous rocks is really important. So what we've done is we've really targeted that then, because that's the question that students need to know. We need to know the formation of igneous, sedimentary, metamorphic. So it's very, very exam focused. So formation of sedimentary rocks, here we have it, really detailed, lots of information here, because we know this is a really popular question that comes up in the exam, formation of metamorphic rocks. And with the notes, what I've tried to do is I've tried to make it very, very exam focused, so students can maximize their marks and they can get that H1 in geography that they want to achieve. Human interaction with rock cycle, I told you that was a question that was really popular. It's on the priority list. Geothermal energy, so that's why I've created the essay and put in so much detail. Some students might do natural gas, so it's not just catering for like one, it's catering for everyone. Okay, that's the human interaction with rock cycle. Past paper questions, you click on that, it'll be broken down all the past paper questions by topic, and then you've got your sample answers done out in the way that I showed you, with that I like to do them with the different structure sheets. Okay, and those H1 answers are there, and students can then use them. Okay, if you're a teacher and a student, you can go on to you've got the past paper questions. So say you're studying, say, rocks, for example, so you can go in here, scroll down, and you can pick rocks, and what will happen then is you've got then all the past paper questions. Okay, so this 2020 paper, explain the formation of each of the following reference to examples of studies. If you click on it, it'll flip and it'll give you then the marking scheme. Okay, and it has everything broken down. If you wanted, you could like then build your own exam paper. Okay, so you could add that on. So that question, you could add on this one, and so on, and then you've got your own question here, which you can then call this rocks, whatever it might be, and then you can download it, and you've also got the marking scheme to go with it. Okay, so just to let you know, for those of you that are watching that and are not familiar with like what's available in ExamRevision, and it's like that for the entire course. Okay, so if you go into regional again, the whole thing is broken down. If you're in like Paris Basin, you're going to have the videos, then you're going to have the quizzes, you're going to have the PowerPoint presentations, and then you're going to have the notes. Okay, and the notes are all done exactly the same. It's very, very detailed and very, very exam focused. So I'll just quickly show you like this one. Okay, so here we go, Paris Basin, core region, past paper questions, H1, and you go through here, it's the same. Okay, where we go through it like that and talk about the H1 notes then. Okay, so let me just flip back to today's PowerPoint. Okay, so this is like then the sample answer. So that's where you can, if you wanted that sample answer, obviously if you just fill out the Google form, you'll get this PowerPoint emailed to you. But also, if you want to get all the notes for the entire geography course, you can obviously get them on examrevision.ie. Little piece of advice: if you want to get a H1 in geography, students need to be up around 92%. Okay, to make sure that you're safe. Okay, because with the bell curve, students could be dropped down if they're at like 90 or 91. And so that means the students need to be getting 460 out of 500 marks. So that's only dropping 40 marks in the entire geography paper. Okay, so when you put it into perspective by what I was saying, like for particularly like with your timing, like imagine if you missed like a question at the end, it was 30 marks, that's your H1 then gone. Okay, you're not going to get a H1 if you miss a whole question. So your timing, your structure, your technique is so critical in geography. Okay, and you can only drop 40 marks in the entire paper, okay, including your field study as well. So it's really important that you practice like doing the questions. You know your timing, you've got everything, you know everything like inside out, and you know your technique, and you just know how to maximize your marks. For today's like session, those of you that watched, okay, like thanks very much. And if any of you want to sign up to ExamRevision, if you use the code Saturday Session, that will give you 20% off a premium or a standard plan. But the code does expire tonight at 11:59 p.m. Okay, so use the code Saturday Session, and that will give you like 20% off. For those of you that want um, to know where that is, just if it's your first time using ExamRevision, okay, so if you just scroll down to the bottom here, it's the website, scroll down to the bottom, pricing and plans, and student, and then you just type in the code in here. So you type, so that would be for a standard, okay, so standard 89, and then premium is 99. If you type in Saturday Session, that will give you 20% discount, but it does expire tonight, okay. And okay, so if you just want to make note of that, there you go, it's Saturday Session, 20% off. And then last thing is, if you follow us on social media, okay, so if you've got Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, or our YouTube channel, if you subscribe to it, and yeah, we hit 14,000 subscribers there last week, so really pleased with that. So thanks very much to everyone that has subscribed, because I suppose like having like this subscribers, having like lots of people following us on our social media channels, it encourages us to keep doing what we're doing, and try to give as much content to you guys as possible, and to give like to give like the Saturday sessions, to give the 1 hour free grind in the Leaving Cert subjects for you guys. Okay, so that's it. Just gonna check if there's any questions. If there's any questions, please put them into the chat. I'm happy to answer them now. So if anyone has any questions, please do pop them in. I hope that made sense. I hope that gave you like an insight into like the paper, the structure, your timings, and we looked at like the exam technique for say like the short questions and some of the 30-mark questions for physical geography. We will have other ones coming up with for regional geography, and we'll have ones for economic and human elective. We'll also have some for our option as well, so throughout the year. So please do make sure you hit subscribe, follow us on social media so you'll see the updates, and thanks very much, guys. Okay, so next week we'll have Connor with Leaving Cert Biology, same time, 11 to 12. Okay, see you then.